Calgary was underwater. Parts of Toronto, too. California is facing a long-term drought. And all these events cost people money. A report this week says we can still roll back these devastating events, but it'll cost $4 trillion to steer the world away from what causes climate change. And that report argues that's less than future catastrophes will inflict.
Because you're not paying off billions of dollars every time you have these kind of floods in the future, you're saving money. Let's say, unfortunately, politically, that saving comes after the next election usually. And so we have a huge political problem of getting action now to prevent damage and costs later.
So if governments aren't leading, perhaps industry will. When CFCs in hairsprays and other products ate away the ozone layer, companies themselves changed, even before legislation forced them to. 2 years ago, the head of Shell Canada told politicians, you will need a carbon price, a tax basically, so long as it's imposed equitably across those burning carbon. But that would impact a lot more people than hairspray ever did.
It was a much simpler issue to deal with in terms of its socio-economic implications, and that's the unfortunate reality of it. We're dealing with an issue for which there are huge issues of the economy and driving our cars. In many countries, it's, they burn coal to cook their dinners. I think governments can be and should be the instrument of change. We've seen where governments have been very progressive. Norway is an oil exporting country, high latitudes, and yet they have put regulations in place that as a country, they're going to be carbon neutral.
Another industry is talking climate change too, big insurance. It is one of the greatest risks facing mankind. The climate change challenge is obviously enormous. House fires used to be the big payouts for Canada's insurers. Now, they believe it's climate change.
When we look at the insurance record in Canada, we've never seen anything like it. We've seen probably a 20-fold increase in catastrophe losses since the 1950s.
McGilvery works for Canada's major insurers.
But then all of a sudden in 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, and of course last year, $3.2 billion in claims. We're just seeing the numbers ramp up, and that's true globally as well.